on!
One of the most nostalgic things that I can remember is going to Blockbuster Video. At the time, I would complain that it had replaced some of the independent video stores that had the weird stuff. But looking back on it now, just thinking about walking into big popcorn-smelling Blockbuster, walking through the aisles, looking through sections of things you didn't even care about just to see what was there, judging things exclusively by their covers, looking at the used movies for sale and the video games section. It was a legitimate experience. I feel like some of my first real tastes of independence came at Blockbuster Video, like going in there with a group of friends and getting to pick out the movie we were gonna watch tonight. Our early relationships, going in there with a girl and trying to figure out what kind of movies girls even like. It was just a time where things felt more real. And going to pick out a movie at Blockbuster had real legitimate stakes because the movie you picked out, you were stuck with. This is what you were watching that night. This is the story of Blockbuster Video, a chain so ingrained in our cultural identity that it was able to withstand an onslaught of technical advancements, proving once and for all that real-world physical experiences will always triumph over pure convenience. Almost.
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
In 1985, David Cook, a software engineer who ran a company that specialized in creating databases for the oil and gas industries, opened the first Blockbuster Video. At the time, most mom and pop video stores tracked rentals using index cards and handwritten logs. But Cook approached Blockbuster Video as a software engineer first, creating a custom digital database that tracked every rental, return, and late fee, giving him the ability to forecast user demand and optimize stock. For the late 1980s, this was revolutionary retail intelligence. Because everything was barcoded and tracked, Blockbuster could clone its operations, opening up new stores with a standardized software system and uniform inventory tracking. By the mid-90s, Blockbuster was unstoppable. They were opening a new store every 17 hours. To me, it just felt like a natural place to go. I mean, I would definitely go there at least once every weekend and probably at least one night during the week. I remember one time it was a weeknight in high school, and I was at my local Blockbuster. And at Blockbuster, the new releases were in alphabetical order. So it went from movie started with A to movie started with Z. I was right at the front. And I was walking by a new movie that just came out called Bulletproof. And as I walked by it, someone behind me is like, "Hey, that's a good one." And I turn around, it was Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler was in my Blockbuster talking to me. And as I turned around, I completely froze. I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he just looked at me for a minute like, I guess this guy can't talk, and walked away. On the ride home, it occurred to me that the ideal response would have been Bulletproof? More like Borophyll.
Chlorophyll? More like Borophyll. Right?
Which would have been a pretty solid Billy Madison reference. But the opportunity passed me by. Another time, I was going to have to change schools, and I was really bummed out about it. And my family was going to Blockbuster, and they all went in, and I stayed in the car because I was sulking. And an older girl from my school walked by, and I thought she was the coolest girl in school. And she walked over to the window and said hi to me and just kind of chatted me up for a minute. She didn't really know me or anything, but like she took the time to talk to me, and it just made me feel so much better. And when I think back on Blockbuster and like what it meant to me at that point in my life, it was that you could see people there. Like you might just strike up a conversation that made you feel better about something going wrong in your life. Or you meet a celebrity and feel embarrassed for the ride home. But it was a real experience. And that's just something we don't have anymore. You can't get that scrolling through the lists on Netflix. Another thing that I really loved about Blockbuster Video is they had this previously viewed movie section where they would sell the movies that they didn't get as many copies of cheaply, and they would sell the bad movies extremely cheaply. And I loved the bad movies. I remember one time I was on my way to a party in high school, and I bought the movie redneck zombies for like $5 at Blockbuster.
Redneck zombies. Monstrous radioactive freaks waiting to eat you for lunch.
And I brought it to the party, and it was awful, but we watched it because it was the movie we had that night. And it ended up being really fun to just play in the background at a party in high school when no one was going to really watch it anyway.
Do not open till Christmas.
Warning, repeated viewings of redneck zombies has been shown to cause insane laughter in laboratory animals.
And when I think of why I feel nostalgic for Blockbuster Video, I kind of feel like that's a lot of what the feeling is that you picked a movie, that was your movie that night. You were watching it no matter what. Even if the beginning was slow or boring or you didn't think you were going to like it, maybe by the end you would realize this movie's awesome. And it's harder now to do that kind of thing. I feel like sometimes with streaming services, I will start a movie, and if I'm not feeling it right away, just try another movie and another and another. Sometimes I don't even start a movie at all. I just look through the list until I fall asleep. So one thing I think that really drives my nostalgia for Blockbuster is just remembering a time when entertainment felt less disposable. But with great power comes great responsibility.
And this film is due back on Saturday before midnight.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And in terms of Blockbuster Video, that responsibility was to not only watch your movie, but to watch it right away. Because you had to bring that tape back 2 days later.
So I have some tapes. I was hoping you could tell me what the late fees are.
In the year 2000 alone, Blockbuster Video charged over $800 million in late fees. That's almost $1 billion they made just from people forgetting to bring the tape back. So going into the 2000s with a clear technical advantage over all its competitors, Blockbuster was unstoppable.
Carl. Give me those. Ow.
Almost.
There's a better way to rent movies. As many as you want for just $20 a month, and no late fees.
In the year 2000, Netflix was still a scrappy upstart, and they came to Blockbuster with a proposal. They would handle all of Blockbuster's online operations, providing them with a web-based way to rent DVDs through the mail, in exchange for Blockbuster promoting their service in their stores. And Blockbuster laughed them out of the meeting, with the CEO famously claiming that the dot-com hysteria would pass. And it didn't. Netflix kept growing, sending DVDs through the mail, while Blockbuster doubled down on brick and mortar. Meanwhile, Netflix was experimenting with something truly revolutionary: streaming movies directly to your screen. No discs, no stores, no late fees. Blockbuster software was based around barcodes and tape rentals, which meant they could tell what tapes were rented and by who. Netflix's algorithm was based on watch behavior. So not only could they tell what movies you watched, they could tell how many times you watched them, if you went back to them, if you watched a certain part more, how long you spent scrolling through lists. Their data was much better at predicting what people wanted to watch next. Then came the 2008 financial crisis.
In-depth coverage now on the growing financial crisis,
sending shockwaves through Wall Street.
And people just stopped going out. They stopped renting videos, they stopped buying popcorn, they started staying in, and they started streaming. And Blockbuster's debt ballooned to $900 million. By 2010, they'd been bought out by the Dish Network.
Dish Network introduces the Blockbuster Movie Pass.
The movies by mail is cool, but thousands of streaming movies is definitely where it's at.
So get this, Blockbuster has announced they're going to be closing all their retail stores by January of 2014.
Here it is, closing down.
We're gonna go check it out and see what we can rob. I mean, buy.
Blockbuster, which is now owned by the Dish Network, will live on as a streaming service.
Today, only one Blockbuster remains in Bend, Oregon, the last Blockbuster on Earth. And it's more like a museum of nostalgia than a functional video store.
Until the bitter end. That's right.
This has been the story of Blockbuster Video, the American institution that proved there are some things in this world more important than convenience. That people will always value the ritual of getting to leave their house, walk around the aisles, interact with real live other people, maybe get to meet a celebrity or talk to the coolest girl in school, and for sure decide what they're gonna watch that night. Almost.
Oh, come on.